Technika LCD32-270. I'm just going to plug the unit in now and you will see the problem. Like it's that red on the right hand side. Just going to press the standby button. Goes to blue. And I don't know if they picked it up or not, but the backlights tried to come up and then they just shut down. I'm just going to reposition the unit now and the camera and have a look at the back of the unit. I have the back off now. Can see no bulging capacitors. It seems okay visually. I'm just now going to check the power supply here. I'll remove this heatsink just for clarity here so you can see these connectors. There's only 3 screws holding it in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start checking the 24 volt supply to the backlights, and that is on. I'll just get a few. It's plugged in. And it's on the first 4 pins from going upwards from the bottom. I'll press the standby button. 24 volts comes up. And then it shuts down. I'm just going to check my other voltages as well, see are they dropping as well. Hit the standby button. 11.6 volts. And that goes as well. Backlights do briefly come up for 1 second. Okay. I'm going to check my 5 volt supply now. It's 6 and 7 from this end of the plug. Count in 6 and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 5 volts there. We have our 5 volts. Now I'm just on the on-off connector. It's at 4 volts now and the unit is out of standby. I'm just going to press on the standby and it goes down to 0 volts. So that's my standby. I've just done up a connector voltage chart for this particular model. When I got the back off this unit, the unit started working. But I have got a little bit of a burning smell for it. I have yet to figure out where that's coming from. It's very slight. But it's here beside me on test, and I'm just going to be doing this voltage chart when I'm waiting. But the problem we had at switch on was until it started working. This 24 volts here on connector 2. When you powered it up, the 24 volts was there, and then it is shut down. And also the 12 volts was gone as well. I've been checking these controls here. Yeah, you're on off, and from what I see is when it's in the off position, this pin is low. It's marked clearly on the power supply board off. It just says off, but I'm making an assumption it is the actual control for the power supply that that powers up the actual switches, these switch voltages on and off. And down here you got 4 connectors, 4 pins on the connector that are not connected. Connector 3, that goes to the signal board, and it's for the audio amplifier, really, as you'd see over here. 24 volt amp, it's clearly marked on the signal board. This section here is the signal board. Connector 4 with all these voltages here actually gets connected over here to your main power. It's marked up main power on the actual signal board. The only other connectors then you have then is your connector then that goes to your buttons, your on off buttons on the side of the TV, and then you have a connector that goes to your speakers. Then you have this here, inverter port is marked up. Not too sure. I would imagine it's for switching on and off the inverter. Is the actual control, because this is all that goes to your inverter here, your 24 volts from your power supply. There's no control for switching on and off your backlight. So this here, I would imagine, is your inverter control that would switch on and off your backlights. I'm just going to take a few readings from this inverter port here to see what's actually on these ports. I'm just going to show you where I'm getting the readings from first. And as you can see from the light shining through here in the backlights are actually up working now at the moment. This here is your inverter port. Top one is 5 volts. Next one down is 3.18 volts. The next one down is not connected, and the one at the bottom is 0 volts. So that'd be ground, I would imagine. Now that 3.2 volts one has pulses on it. I'm just going to show you a waveform on the scope. I have my scope set to 2 volts per division, and the time scale is set to 2 milliseconds per division. And here we go. Right. And you can see that's about 5 volts peak to peak, and it's 2 milliseconds. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 milliseconds is a bit of duration of that, and the 5 volts obviously is what, 6, nearly 7 milliseconds, while the off time is just around about 3 milliseconds. And that pulse width will change with the settings that you will set up for the lamp brightness, but I can't see any settings in the user menu for changing that. I'm going to take this screening can off here now, just to have a look inside here, the inverter board. Can I see anything burnt or overheating, because I still can get that smell of burning. It's only a slight smell, but it's there. So I'm just going to get a closer shot. The unit is plugged out now when I'm doing this. It's important that you don't work on it when it's live. If you have no experience of working on power supplies, don't touch them. You will get a nasty shock. Could even kill you. That's that off. And I'll just put a couple of screws in to hold it in place. Okay. Let's get a closer shot now. There's nothing there I can see burnt. the actual drive waveform for them four FETs, and as you can see, it's set for 2 volt per division, so it's 2, 4, just over 5 volts peak to peak. And let's just see, we're set to 10 microseconds time base. 10, 20, about 25 microseconds period of the pulse, and it looks like it's 50 pulse width. Let's just check the other 4 drives. Okay. The one on the left, on the drive of the Q2, it's roughly about just over 5 volts. Let's compare that with Q4. Now I'm going to Q1, the drive of Q1. This seems to be a higher voltage. So we're set now to 5 volts per division. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 volts on the drive of Q2. Now Q3. Q3 is the same. Don't know where I'm going with this repair, because as you can see, the unit is up working, as can be seen from the backlight coming through the back of the screen. I'm going to start checking the boards now for loose connections. Because of the smell of burning, the first thing I'm going to check now on this unit is the power supply. I'm going to take it out, because the voltage on the power supply were dropping. So there's a good chance that the problem is actually on the power supply and not on the inverter or backlights, even though the smell seems like it could be coming from the connectors inside the screen. I've had that type of smell before from there. But I'm going to check this power supply first. I have the power supply out, and I did see a slight bit of a burning smell from it. And if I turn over the power supply, we've got this little bit of plastic here that's stuck to the bottom of the PCB. And if you look here, the plastic is melting. Let's get a closer shot at that for you. See how far I can go in. I think that's as far as I'll go without focusing. Yeah, that's it there. There's 3 points melted. So I'm just going to remove this. It's only stuck on. Yeah. And you can see I've unsoldered this diode here because the board is very hot around it and it was melting this plastic area here on the PCB. And I'm just going to take it out now. It's unsoldered. And I'm just going to do a diode test on it. We're on the diode test there on the dial, as you can see. And reading 0.392 volt, drop across it, and 0.4 that way. As we know with the diode, you should only get that one way. You should get a reading one way. The other way you shouldn't get a reading. So there's a problem with this diode, and it's type 1N5408. I'm going to see can I get an equivalent or the same type. I'm just going to give you a reading now from a working diode, type IN5408. One way we're getting 0.5 of a volt drop, and the other way we're getting no reading at all. I'm going to put this in its position now. I'll zoom in now to get a decent shot of the diode going in. It's in that location there. As you can see from the board, there is burning on the board. Not burning, but scorched marks there from where the diode was getting hot. I will be putting in the diode with the cathode where the line is there on this side, in line with the cathode that's marked on the PCB. You'll see a mark for the cathode, a line going across, and it's over, it's this side here. The cathode is this side towards this resistor. And it goes in like that. I'm just going to turn it over now and solder in place. But as you can tell, sometimes it's not tools that are the giveaway. Sometimes it's your senses, like your smell and what you can see, that can get you to the source of the problem. I always look for something burnt or something discoloured. Capacitors, i.e. bulging, scorch marks on PCBs, and that burning smell was a giveaway. And I'm going to start putting this back together again now. Six screws hold this onto its position. And another 3 screws hold this one in place. We're just going to stick our plastic sheet back in the bottom of it. There you go. I'm just going to put in the screws for the power supply. Now, one screw is in already, just holding it in place so it doesn't flop about. This one here. there's four screws holding it in place. One connector comes in here. Then we have a connector for your inverter, PCB. And then we got our connector for the audio amplifier, 24 volt supply to the audio amplifier. Now we have our AC mains as well, comes in here. That's got to be connected onto this connector here. And what all that remains to do now is plug it in and see what happens. I'm just going to take it out of standby now by pressing the standby button. You zoom out a bit. You see lights up on the inverter board, backlights up working. We have a picture on the front. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run that now for the next 20 minutes, see did it burn and smell go on it. I would imagine it does, because this diode was definitely shorted. Not dead short, but let me just give it a reading here on ohms. See what kind of a reading I get on ohms. 589 ohms one way, 590 the other way, so it's not a dead short as such. Normally when you get these shorted, you'll read about 0 ohms across it, but I would imagine that will solve the problem. Why it started up when the unit was warmed up a bit after a couple of tries and not when it was cold is a mystery. I don't have a circuit diagram of this board to be able to give you any information on that, because there's no schematic available for this unit as far as I know. I'm just going to put on the back of it after testing it for a couple of hours, and I will get back. The unit has been running now for best part of the day now. It's working okay. The smell of burning has gone as well, so that's a good sign. And I will wrap it up and send it back to the customer. Hope that's of some help to you. Thanks for watching.